Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now for today's video, I wanted to talk about the differences between all of the individual raptor types in the Jurassic Park series. If we take a closer look at all of the CGI renders and animatronic effects that were used in the films, we can see some small yet noticeable things that differentiate each animal and make them stand out from one another. It can be fun to compare and contrast each different raptor that we've seen so far, and I really wanted to document all of the interesting points of contrast for the sake of properly identifying every clone that was created by InGen. Believe it or not, there's actually quite a lot of things that set each movie's dinosaurs apart, particularly when it comes to the sickle-toed carnivores from the first few films. Starting off with the original raptor pack from the first movie, we can see this particular breed is fairly simple looking. All three of the adult velociraptors in the original Jurassic Park movie have a dull brown coloration. They also come complete with some darker spots that you can just barely make out on their backs and on the tops of their heads. Their eyes are very cat-like and come with a nice shade of green. Now, being the first official raptors that we'd ever gotten in the entire film franchise, these are typically thought of as the base model or first version of the raptors that InGen initially cloned. Of course, there isn't any sort of real confirmation of this assessment, but most people just consider these to be the first clones because they're the first ones that we got to see, regardless of whether or not that is actually the case. Next up are the raptors that we got to see briefly in The Lost World. This particular pack of the animals is actually very different from their JP1 counterparts. Now, upon first glance, the raptors in the second film's biggest difference is the tiger-striped coloration that the animals have adorning their skin. The males of this group have a noticeable orange hue to their bodies, with a nice set of black stripes cutting through their backs. However, their eyes are also very different from the first film's raptors as well. Instead of the shade of green that we got to see in the first Jurassic Park, these raptors have bright yellow eyes. Another thing that people seem to not be aware of when it comes to differentiating the Lost Worlds pack is the fact that the female raptors in the movie are actually not identical to the ones that were shown off in the first film. In all actuality, the females in the Lost Worlds tribe actually possess a duller indigo color of stripes adorning their bodies in a similar way to that of the orange males. They're just really hard to see in the film. I think this is mainly due to the fact that the raptors were only in a brief part of the movie and all of their scenes took place at night, so it can be difficult differentiating them when you don't have too much to go by. Now, JP3 is where things get really interesting, because for the first time in the franchise, the raptors would get a radical redesign. The dinos that can be seen in the final film are the most different looking raptors in the entire series. We can see this the most by simply looking at their skull structures. When you compare the heads of the first two JP raptor types to those of the ones that we saw in the third film, you'll notice that the new breed has the midsection of their skull raised considerably. This creates a distinguishable ridge between their eyes and their nostrils. It's almost like a mini crest. Their eyes have also gotten an overhaul. Instead of the cat-like design of the previous two versions, this breed has bird-like pupils that come in different colors than their predecessors. The males now have a set of stark red eyes, and the females have been given yellow eyes instead of the standard green. Of course, the differences don't simply stop there. The new redesign that was given to the JP3 raptors comes complete with a white skin tone for the girls and a blackish blue coloration for the boys. Male raptors come with a mohawk of quills on their heads and a bright stripe that goes down their backs, while females are adorned with a collection of Dalmatian-like spots that are dispersed in different sizes all around their bodies. So this has been to date the most unique and vastly different design of all of the velociraptors that we've seen so far. But they're not the last ones that we have to talk about. Once we come into the Jurassic World trilogy, we get 4 different color tones that are all unique to what we've seen before. Delta is mainly green, Echo is a yellow-like brown with clear stripes, Charlie is a lighter green with stripes, and Blue is pretty gray in coloration, but has a noticeable blue stripe running down her back. Now, the key differences between these newer raptors and their previous siblings need to be addressed here as well. They have nowhere near as much of a radical redesign as the JP3 pack, but they do have a few things that make them stick out. First off is their size. The raptors from the Jurassic World movies are noticeably thicker and have bulkier bodies when compared to the first two films. They also have slight differences between all of their individual skulls. Blue and Echo seem to have the most similar head structures to that of the original raptors, although they are slightly different. However, Delta and Charlie come complete with the ridges on their heads like what we saw in JP3. The reason these animals were bred to be stockier may or may not have had something to do with the fact that they were cloned with military applications in mind. And so far, this is it. These are all of the distinct Velociraptor differences that we've seen in the JP film series at the moment. You can clearly see that each individual animal seems to have something different going on for them, which makes picking and choosing which ones you personally prefer over all of the others really fun to do. By the way, that's something that I'd like to ask for all of you guys to take part in. I really want to know what everyone thinks about each individual design. If I had to rank my own personal list of which raptors I thought looked the best to the worst, I'd probably go with this. Number 1, tiger-striped males, then original Jurassic Park raptors, followed by Delta, and then Blue, the JP3 males, Echo, Charlie, the tiger-striped females, and then the JP3 females. But hey, that's just my own personal opinion. Anyways, which raptors do you think had the best designs in the entire franchise? Are you a fan of the creatures' redesigns that we've seen over the years? Or do you prefer your raptors to look the way they did all the way back in the original 1993 film? Whatever your thoughts and opinions may be, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it really means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I seriously am extremely thankful for everything that you guys do to help. Honestly, it means the world. Now I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and hope that you all enjoy today's content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys. And as always, take it easy.